Hi, welcome to SBR TV. I'm Peter Loshak. Right now we're doing another football betting recap call with Doc, the head linesman at Legend Sportsbook. We're going to find out how he and the books did on the bowl games to date and how they did with the last week in the NFL. Doc, thanks again for doing this call.
Always a pleasure, Peter. Thanks.
All right, so first let's talk about the bowl games. There were a lot of interesting results in these games. I'll start out by guessing that you had a bad result with Oklahoma State beating Arizona so bad and Oklahoma beating UConn. Am I right?
You're correct on both of those.
Okay. Were those the worst games for you?
No, games? The worst game happened to be played last night.
Oh, really?
Stanford, the wise guys kind of liked them a little bit, and the public steamrolled them. That was by far the biggest one for sure.
Really, that
was the biggest public score so far. Yeah, it was a burial last night. So.
The public loves Stanford.
We've had some good ones and some bad ones, but that was the one that stands out so far.
How about Washington beating Nebraska? Was that really good for you?
That was good. That game got driven down late,
right.
But like I said, they kind of missed me a little bit. I got one guy took me 13, and I jumped the line down pretty quick. Pinnacle closed 11. They really took a stand there.
Was that from sharp action?
Killed on those. They needed one, but yeah, that was a real good game though overall. The public pretty much was on Nebraska, so it worked out pretty good.
So all that late money was on Washington. The sharps just must have pounded that late.
Yeah, they came flying in at post. I mean, just you take it or you don't. It
right.
Depends on what you want to do. I didn't want to lose my decision, so I just ducked it. So it worked out okay.
And then what about Alabama, Michigan State? I mean, that result definitely surprised me. How'd you do on that one? What was the betting action like?
The day of the game, your bread and butter customers, they did good. They ended up taking Alabama. So they ended up, the public, I guess, whatever you want to call them, but they were dead right. They ended up taking Alabama the day of the game. The number got driven down, throughout the weeks by, the movers or what, and they piled in. Weird phenomenon though. They were chasing numbers. The Steam guys were just chasing their numbers all the way over. It was crazy. Like the Texas Tech game. They ended up catching a side there, but Alabama game, I mean, they got Connecticut down, then Oklahoma back up. I mean, they were just whoever was following who, they were going crazy. It was kind of fun to just move lines and get bets, but the public ended up on Bama though. They won the game.
Wow, so it sounds like there was a lot of volume for all these bowl games. How was the volume this year?
Oh, it was fantastic. Yeah, it really picked up. Saturday with the Texas Tech, the Florida, the Bama, Mississippi State, TCU, all the Oklahoma games, all those games had tremendous volume all day. The fact that it fell on a Saturday really helped, I think, too, because the early games usually on New Year's Day during the week, sometimes you don't get much action. It was real busy all day, so that was nice.
Right. So which were the sharpest sides out of all the bowl games so far?
Illinois stands out. They got pounded from the word go.
Really?
And they ended up coming through. Syracuse, through a little bit of fortunate refereeing at the end, they ended up coming through. Washington, I guess you could label that a super sharp side. They ended up winning, but I guess we ended up needing them anyway. Notre Dame was a very sharp side, and luckily the public was kind of mixed on game day. That could have been a disaster. A ton of Notre Dame money, but it ended up evening out pretty good. Same thing with Florida State, another sharp side that won, and that ended up evening out pretty good. A lot of the public went on South Carolina, so it was back and forth. The public won the Wisconsin game, and luckily the wise guys came in on TCU late, and you let them lay 3 because you're not going to avoid those bets. You're not going to jump to 3.5. So they laid a ton of 3 with us, which was thankful because the public was all over Wisconsin. So the public's 2 big games so far. Wisconsin and Stanford have both won, and their last one's going to be Auburn, so we'll see how they do. They might go 3-0 on the big one-sided game. So
what were the games you did well with? Were there any games the public backed that they lost big on?
Iowa, Missouri was really good for us. Army was pretty good. We were real lucky in North Carolina. Public kind of like Tennessee. Public's been doing okay so far. I mean, we're because of sheer volume, we're doing pretty good. But I tell you, if we didn't have the volume we did, we would be down for the bowl season.
Really? And then what happened with the NFL in the last week in the NFL? Did the sharps bet any sides, or did they mostly lay off the last week?
No, they got some sides just got pounded ridiculous. Houston, the Raiders, Dallas, Detroit got bet pretty heavy. St. Louis, the Giants. You know, we did okay. We lost more games than we won, but we won the critical late game. The Ram game was huge, and the Seattle beating the Rams made our whole day Sunday. So that was real important to win that one.
I'm guessing that you had a big loser on Atlanta beating Carolina and covering?
Yeah, you know, that's one of those games, too. The number really didn't do nothing. Nobody really jumped. I mean, I had 14.5 for a little while. I didn't get a nibble on Carolina, so I just figured I'd go down with the ship, and I sure did. I mean, it was just all Atlanta, you know.
What about New England and Miami? What was the action like on that one?
Yeah, that was a strangely bet game. The public acted like Brady was playing all 4 quarters, and the wise guys couldn't make up their mind. Luckily, some Miami money came in really late and kind of evened things out a little bit. So, but the public was thinking Brady's played 4 quarters, and the final score indicated they were right, even though they only played a quarter and a half. But, you know, we got lucky that the wise guys came in at post. They took 6, they took 5, they actually took some 4 even, which was really helpful. So
looking ahead, what side are you going to need tonight in Ohio State, Arkansas?
Oh, I'm going to need Ohio State for quite a bit. It looks like public's on Arkansas, and you know, I imagine this might even close 2.5. You know.
Really?
Money line's dropping to 45 right now. I'm just going to drop it. So, you know, people don't bet favorites in the money lines, which helped out. Speaking, go back to TCU. We kind of got a lucky, almost a little middle there, because the public likes taking the money line on those 3-point dogs, and falling 2 was kind of a big break for us. So
doesn't that surprise you?
Yeah, I'm going to definitely need Ohio State tonight.
Wouldn't you expect Ohio State to be a public favored side in this one? Only 3 points?
No, everybody's anti-Big Ten, and you can't blame them. Even though they're 4-3 against the number, I mean, they're doing fine as far as the spread goes. But you know, Ohio State's 0-9 against the SEC, but it's a little different. Ohio State's the best team in the Big Ten, even though they lost to Wisconsin. You know, if you just go by point spreads, they're the best team, and they're playing the 3rd best team in the SEC. Usually, they play the best team, so you know, they got a good shot. I don't mind needing Ohio State, so that's not going to bother me.
And then, so you said that the public's liking Auburn in the championship game?
Public's in love with Auburn right now.
Really?
So we'll see if that changes or not. I don't expect it to. You know, I expect that to stay. So
why hasn't the number moved then? Because the sharps are betting Oregon?
It's actually gone down. Like I say, it's just the number just looks out of whack to a lot of guys. I think that's more than anything. Even the public, not the public perception, the bookmakers' perception is it should be about a pick'em game. You know, I'm kind of in agreement with that, and I got a lot of -3 on Auburn, which is fine.
Right.
If I have to go back to 3 to get Oregon money, I'm okay there because at least I'll have some balancing out.
Right.
I'm just going to leave it 2.5 and see what happens. You know, I hate to be stuck at 3 if this game takes off and heads to pick. I'd rather be stuck at 2.5 if it goes back to 3. That's not that big a deal.
And then what about the rest of the bowl games coming up? Do you have any action that's notable? Are you going to need any side a lot?
Middle Tennessee's a real sharp side, and I'm hoping to need them. I'm kind of staying ahead of that. I like them myself. I bet them, so we'll see what happens. And LSU A&M's kind of a mixed bag right now. Nothing much going on there. And the sharp guys are bet me Boston College real early, but I don't know if that's going to. I got a feeling that game might close up back high. I think they're going to end up like Nevada. Just a guess, so we'll see.
All right. Thanks once again, Doc, for all this great info.
No problem, Peter. Anytime.